Hello, my name is Sarah Rayner and I'm an author. I'm here to talk to you today about anxiety and depression, both of which I've suffered from at various points in my life. When we're feeling anxious or depressed, sometimes it can be very hard to talk to people about it, even those people we know well. Talking to a doctor can feel really intimidating, and it's this that I'm going to talk to you about today. I've put together some tips as to how you might approach your GP so as to get the most from your appointment, as in all likelihood you're only going to get 10 or 15 minutes with him or her. The first bit of advice that I'm going to give you about going to see your doctor is to make sure that you see the right person. When we're feeling really wobbly, it can be hard to talk to anyone, whether they're in your family or a friend already or not. So talking to a stranger can be very difficult indeed. Some doctors are also better at dealing with mental health issues than others. I found this myself. Some seem naturally sympathetic, others make you feel rushed or that there's something you've done wrong before you've even sat down. So, if you're worried that your doctor might not be sympathetic, I suggest you ask at reception and see if there's a doctor there in the practice who has a special interest in mental health. Make an appointment to see them, and then you'll have seen the right person at the right time. So, tip number 1, make sure you see the right doctor. The next tip that I have for you is something that you might not be aware of, which is that you can take a friend along or family member to be with you. They can come into the appointment with you if you like, or they can sit in the waiting room. In any event, it can make the experience less anxious making, knowing that you've got someone there on your team. The third piece of advice that I've got for you is to make a list. It can save you a lot of time to make a list ahead of going. Just 5 minutes spent thinking about what you want to say can mean that you don't burble and stumble over your words like I'm doing now when you're actually in your appointment, that you've got it all written down and you can refer to it. The symptoms of anxiety and depression are very varied and we all feel it differently. You might find, for instance, that you're sleeping a lot, or you might be sleeping less than normal. That's a very common symptom. You might find that you feel less sociable. You don't want to be with your friends, you've not been in work, you're isolating yourself. Again, that's a very common symptom, depression. You might find that you've got no energy, that just going for a walk to the end of the road seems more than you can manage. Write all these things down on your list so that you can talk to your doctor about them in your appointment. Another thing that you might find is that you've been crying a lot and you don't know the reason why. Again, mention this. Or you might be experiencing panic attacks, waves of anxiety. All of these things are very common if you have anxiety or depression. Armed with your list, then tell your doctor what you think has been going on. Some of the symptoms that we may have with anxiety or depression might seem strange, but tell them all the same. The body has a strange way of making things manifest. Allow the doctor then to ask you questions. This will help them clarify whether there's something else going on that may in fact be contributing to your mood swings. The most important part of your appointment with your doctor is the discussion of all the options in terms of treatment that you would like to hear about moving forward. It used to be the case in days gone by that many doctors were guilty of just trying to fix depression or anxiety with a pill. That's not to say that pills can't be helpful. They can. I found this myself. But they're not the only route open to you. Psychotherapy isn't that widely available, but CBT is more widely available, although it does depend on where you live. You might like to ask your doctor about that option, or about counselling, which can be particularly useful if you're grieving. Another thing that you might like to ask for is blood tests. I'm not saying that these are going to show anything in particular, but it can help you to rule out certain physical conditions that may actually make mood swings worse. You're probably at the end of your appointment now, and on your way out of the surgery, don't forget to make a follow-up appointment for 2 or 3 weeks later. It'll take a while for any therapy that you're having or medication that you're taking to work. So unfortunately, I can't say that you're going to feel better immediately. I wish I could. Nonetheless, you may find that just the visit to the doctor in itself has helped, and I do hope so. Feeling anxious or depressed is really horrible, as I know. And remember, if you didn't connect with your doctor, you can always ask to see somebody else. You've got that right. There's no need to stay with the same GP for session after session. So let's run through those 7 points again. Firstly, see the right doctor. Secondly, ask for a support in terms of a friend or family member to go with you and sit in the waiting room. Thirdly, make a list. You can see how useful my list is to me here. Fourthly, tell your doctor what you think might be going on, both physically and mentally. Allow your doctor to ask you questions. That will help him or her clarify whether there is a physical cause to which your depression or anxiety is linked. Sixth, and most important, discuss the different options with your doctor. There's not just one route forward. And seventh, make a follow-up appointment for 2 or 3 weeks' time so that you can see how the changes have gone. I hope you found those tips helpful. If so, you might be interested in a little book that I've written. It's called Making Friends with Depression, and I've authored it along with a friend of mine, Kate Harrison, and a doctor, Patrick Fitzgerald. It's full of tips and advice on how to get through this difficult time, and I really hope that you feel better soon.